The next PS5 update just leaked. Did we just get the price and release date for the PS5 Slim? The next state of play is happening a lot sooner than we thought. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to PSReady. This is the weekly news show. I'm gonna jump into all three of the stories I just mentioned, but first, before we do that, I got a package in the mail from the Last of Us TV show. This has been a journey because they originally sent me the press kit they sent everyone else and it got lost in the mail. So then instead of sending another one of those, they just literally sent the exact jacket that Pedro Pascal wears in the show, which is great because this jacket is in so many movies and I have wanted it for so long, years at this point. The reason I haven't bought it is because it's $300. So this is probably the only way I would ever get this jacket, honestly, if we're being real. So the jacket's got a pocket, it's flannel lined, and it's a waxed trucker jacket. So the more you wear it, the better of a patina it'll get. I've wanted this jacket for so long and I'm glad that it actually fits. I didn't try it on or anything before this. So part of the stipulation for getting this jacket is I have to wear it when I talk about the show. You guys know I like the show so far. A lot of the changes have been a little weird, but it's nice to not be exactly the same. So I'm excited to watch it week to week. 5th episode so far, easily my favorite. Tommy's voice actor did an incredible job. The way that they worked in one of the bloater deaths that can happen to Joel from the game on a character in the show, thought that was awesome. They took one of my favorite moments from the game, which is the long street where you have the sniper as Joel. Just an excellent episode overall, and I can't wait to wear this jacket when I watch episode 6 on Sunday. That's my only negative about the show. The fact that they put the last episode out on Friday means I have to wait even longer to see the next one. So thanks a lot to HBO and Last of Us for sending out this jacket. I'm not joking when I say I will never take it off. Except I might take it off halfway through this video because it is flannel lined and it's kind of hot in here. So don't hold me to that too closely. Next up, we got to talk about Hogwarts Legacy because this game literally cannot be stopped. I mean, we all knew it was going to be a big seller if it wasn't critically broken or terrible at launch. And not only is it a good game, it's a great game built around one of the biggest IP in the world. But I don't think anyone was ready for it to be selling this well. Just to put it into context, this game is outselling Elden Ring at the same time when that game came out. In the UK at least, over 80% of the copies were sold on PS5 in the UK, which makes sense because A, PS5 is big in the UK, PlayStation is the dominant console over there, and B, there's a ton of marketing and exclusive quests and exclusive content for Hogwarts Legacy on PlayStation, so obviously people are going to go for it over there on the PS5 versus the Xbox Series X or S. I was always going to play this on PS5 though, mainly because of the exclusive quest and the fact that it runs extremely well on that console. I literally have nothing to complain about in terms of performance. There are just a few frame drops here and there, but when you're actually playing the game, everything looks and runs great. My fiance, she's the biggest Harry Potter fan in the world objectively, so she wanted a copy for herself and I bought it for her on her Xbox Series S. It looks fine there too. I wouldn't say it looks nearly as good as it does on the PS5, but she's definitely the kind of person who does not care that it's running at a lower resolution and frame rate. She's just happy to be in Hogwarts, so everyone in the gym house is happy. I'm sure a bunch of you have gotten this game already because it's the biggest game as I was just talking about, so I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you haven't gotten it yet, I have it linked down in the description. Help me out and buy it down with that link in the description, please. Thank you. One thing people are really looking forward to for this game, obviously, especially over on PC, is the first patch. People were assuming it would happen last Friday, but it didn't actually come out, and people really want a patch for one big reason, and that's that you can't respec in this game and talent points are limited. So if you spec into the wrong stuff and you want to respec, you're just SOL right now and you basically have to restart the game. Now hopefully that first patch kind of fixes that, adds in a way to respec, because this game is literally like Wizard Souls, right? You play it like a Souls game, you dodge around, you lock onto enemies. One of the best parts of Elden Ring is being able to respec around halfway through the game. So yeah, it would be great if that first patch not only included performance updates for both PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S, but also gave you a way to respec your character. There's no word on when this patch could come, but the rumors basically say that it could be happening today when you're seeing this video. So Past Jim might have called it, I also might not have, who knows. I just hope this patch comes sooner rather than later because yeah, having games that don't run right and don't let you respec, that kind of sucks. Next up, let's talk about the whole state of play situation, because the rumors around state of plays and showcases have been going absolutely crazy. We had some leaks from people that were sort of reputable, but now we have one from Jeff Grubb, who's like kind of the leak master, right? Like Tom Henderson and Jeff Grubb are like the kings of leaks in the gaming industry. E3, and when they start talking about stuff, that's when I really start paying attention. And now Jeff Grubb is basically letting us know that we're going to have a smaller state of play by the end of February, so within the next couple weeks, and then leading up to E3, Sony is going to have a much bigger showcase, like a pre-E3 one where it's streamed and we get to see all of the games coming to the PS5 in the next few months and into next year, which honestly sounds super believable to me. Like at this point, we're already almost at the end of February, we're almost at the beginning of March, which is the third month of the year, and that basically puts us a little over 3 months away from when E3 usually happens, right? Like lately, we're not having anything at actual E3, like Xbox does their own stream, Nintendo does a Nintendo Direct. A side note, I don't know how they're gonna beat that last Nintendo Direct because it was awesome. And then of course, Sony does their own state of play usually. But last year around November, when we would have had a PlayStation showcase, just like we did the past 2 years beforehand, that's kind of where Sony would show off a lot of the bigger games that we had to look forward to. We didn't get one in 2022. So bumping it forward till June, especially considering that for the rest of the year, it doesn't look like we have a lot of huge games coming out, that makes a lot of sense to me personally. And then this state of play that's supposedly happening by the end of February, this is the rumored one where we're maybe going to see Metal Gear Solid's remake announced. There's also allegedly a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 in the works. It would just be kind of weird to remake Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3, but not 2, right? Because when 2 came out, people were pretty pissed at it. There was a demo disc included with a magazine or a different game or something that basically gave you the entire time of the game that you'll get to play as Solid Snake, because you infiltrate the oil rig base that the whole game takes place on in the very intro of the game as Solid Snake, and then it quickly transitions over to Raiden, which was not announced before the game came out. So obviously when the game came out, people were upset that they didn't get to play as Solid Snake because he's one of the coolest characters ever, but now here we are decades later, and Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the most appreciated games in the series because it's just that damn good. And honestly, after playing that game, playing Metal Gear Solid 4, playing Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, I love Raiden. I think he's a great character. The first time I played Metal Gear Solid 2 was on the Vita, so it was well after all of the controversy surrounding that character. So yeah, I would be really excited to see a remake of that as well. I'm fine with them kind of splitting it off too, like Nintendo is with Metroid, where we're getting Metroid Prime remastered for 40 bucks. We'll probably get Metroid Prime 2 Echoes remastered for 40, and then we'll get Metroid Prime 3 as its own standalone release. And hopefully when that comes out, they give us some sort of box to put all the physical copies in together, because that would just be awesome. I'd love to see the same thing happen with Metal Gear Solid, where we get Metal Gear Solid Remake, then we get Metal Gear Solid 2 Remake, and then we get Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. And I'm totally fine with them charging full price, 60, 70 bucks for these, because from what it sounds like, what they've been working on is like full on ground up remakes in the style of something like Resident Evil 2 Remake or Dead Space Remake, which just sounds like music to my ears. We need more Metal Gear. I hope Kojima can be involved in some way while he's working on Death Stranding 2, but for now, it looks like Bluepoint's taking over the franchise, and I would be totally fine with that. I think Bluepoint's great. So yeah, end of February will be a state of play that's smaller and announces third-party games. That's what we've been hearing for months, so it's nice to hear Jeff Grubb kind of corroborate that. And then leading up to E3, Sony will do a showcase style event like they have done in the past. It'll just be a lot bigger than what we've seen before, mainly because they didn't do a showcase at the end of 2022. So the next PS5 update is currently in beta, and it brings along some really cool features like, of course, Discord integration finally, but Sony apparently is already working on the next PS5 update, and unfortunately, the title feature is not apparently going to be themes. Sony's been submitting a ton of patents lately, which include some cool stuff like being able to navigate the console or type using sign language and a camera connected to your PS5, which sounds like something that should have happened a long time ago, especially when the Kinect is as old as it is. I feel like that should have been the first implementation of a camera connected to a console, being able to sign at your screen and just have it type out what's there, because that would be really cool. But the biggest and kind of coolest, in my opinion, new feature that they've patented is a picture-in-picture mode for the PS5. Now, this kind of already exists. Like if you go into the cards and click on a trophy that you don't have, if the developer has created a card that shows you how to get that trophy, it will play picture-in-picture style over the game, and then you'll know exactly what to do to get a trophy. Honestly, the last time I used it, which I don't know if I should admit, was when I opened up my PS5 for the first time and played Astro's Playroom. When I was cleaning up the last few trophies is when I really ended up up using that card system, but I haven't really gone for a lot of platinum since then, so I haven't really seen what games actually implement it. But taking it one step further beyond trophy guides would be awesome, right? Like, how cool would it be to be able to have a YouTube video or a podcast or like long form content like a PSReady or Xbox Ready video playing in the bottom of your screen while you're getting through Wild Hearts, the new Monster Hunter clone from EA. I know a lot of people also like watching Twitch streams. It seems like a no-brainer to be able to put your Twitch streams in the bottom left corner of the screen. That just seems like something that Sony could have implemented and should have implemented a long time ago. And it's kind of crazy how things are coming full circle, because that was one of the biggest features of the original Xbox One launch, right? You could plug in your cable box to the HDMI in, and then you would do the HDMI out to the TV, and your Xbox would kind of run your whole TV interface, and you could kind of like snap TV over your games. You could do picture in picture. People really ended up liking that, and they were bummed out when that feature was kind of taken away from the Xbox. So now Sony is capitalizing on those people who really like this stuff, and they're adding it back into the PlayStation 5. So if you take that feature and combine it with themes, I feel like that would be the perfect PS5 update, and I really hope that themes are something that's included in the near future, because people are asking for it. You're able to hack them onto your PS5 already. Sony just has to pull the trigger and let us do it. I think it's like 100% guaranteed it'll happen, just because every PS console since the PSP has had themes in some way. Like PSP, PS3, PS Vita, and PS4 all had themes within the first couple years of them being out. So now we just need them on the PlayStation 5. I think the reason that we have waited so long to see them is that obviously they fill so much of the PS5's real estate with ads. Kind of going back to this new State of Play in June showcase, we got to talk about the PS5 Slim, because there have been even more leaks and rumors surrounding this thing. And the latest one is that we could see the PS5 Slim announced at the end of the February State of Play and then release around the same time as this June showcase. Now, all the rumors that I had heard beforehand basically pinpointed this console as coming out towards the end of this year, around September, which made a lot of sense to me, right? Because then you release it in September, you put it on sale in a bundle that includes a couple games like God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and or GT7, and you call it a day on Black Friday and totally take over the holiday season. But if they release this thing around June, nothing is stopping them from doing exactly what I just said, and the timing makes a lot of sense, right? Like, we have this whole live from PlayStation ad campaign going on right now. There's tons of marketing surrounding being able to get a PlayStation 5. There's going to be some bigger games coming out in the back half of the year, obviously like Final Fantasy 16 and then Spider-Man 2. So when you take into consideration that this new PS5 is just basically going to be the PS5 going forward, to the point where there's not even allegedly going to be a PS5 Slim, that's when we could start seeing some really cool special editions. Like, how awesome would it be if Sony announced this PS5 Slim in February, and then in June, right before Final Fantasy 16 comes out, they do this huge showcase, they give us some gameplay and a launch trailer, and then they say, hey, this new PS5 is launching alongside a special edition Final Fantasy 16 version. And then they could also announce a Spider-Man 2 version that could come out later in the year, because that's what I feel like they've been waiting for, right? Like, this streamlined console with the detachable disc drive, it's going to be the console that takes us through the rest of the generation. So that's when they can really start doing more special edition consoles to match up with these special edition controllers. One thing I really hope doesn't go away though is the standalone special edition controllers. Sony was really good about this during the PS4 generation, where if they had a new console come out that was tied into a game, like The Last of Us Part 2 edition, for example, of the PS4 Pro, they always made that DualShock 4 available on the side. I bought so many special edition DualShock 4s that were included with consoles, but my favorite one was the first special edition I ever bought, which was the PS1 edition one. So it was gray, it had the colored buttons, it looked like a PS1 controller, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to see something like that start happening from Sony, but hopefully in the future they always let us buy the controller separate, because I don't need more PS5s outside of the one that I have now, and then of course the Slim model, because I really obviously want to take it apart and look at it on this channel. So yeah, for me personally, while I'm still putting a lot of my money on the PS5 Slim coming out towards September and the end of the year, I could definitely see it being announced at this February State of Play and then also release around June. And as for the price, all of the rumors are saying right now that it's going to be $499, just like the current disc edition of the PS5, and then there will be a cheaper discless edition, like a digital edition, which I would guess would be $400. The only real difference for me personally that I would expect to see, outside of the fact that it's going to have a detachable disk drive, is of course more storage. The fact that you only get 680 gigabytes out of the box on the PlayStation 5, borderline criminal. You may as well only have included 500, Sony. So yeah, if the PS5 Slim is 500, it better have at least a terabyte or even 2 terabytes of SSD storage.